He also tells me there's hair that you kept of his here in the physical world. His hair. Wait a minute, what are you doing over there? And I keep hearing, say Jared, say Jared. So that was your son that departed? Okay. Can you please stand up? Please know that, first of all, his soul is stepping forward. Because he tells me that there's still so many questions that you have about that day and about what had happened. And there's also questions about another vehicle being involved or another vehicle being involved in his passing, meaning who hit who or who was there. Do you understand that? But what's also tough about this is your son is saying to me, Matt, I feel like I could have saved this accident. I feel like I could have saved this accident.
He saw it coming.
He says to me, Matt, it's like closing your eyes in this world and just opening them up in heaven. That's what he's acknowledging. He tells me he didn't feel anything, he didn't see anything, it just happened. So I don't know if he was screwing with something. All I see is his head down when this had happened, and that's what he's bringing through. But I have to tell you, I feel like there was another vehicle that either spun in front of him or that moved out in front of him, because that's what he keeps telling me.
Yeah.
It was road rage.
Okay.
Road rage on two other vehicles parked.
Okay. So please know that what I have to tell you is this. For your son to say this, meaning that he thinks that he could have prevented this passing, this is something that he's holding on to here in the physical world. Because he tells me, Matt, he says, you don't know me. He says, when I was here, he says, I knew this car inside and out, he tells me. And he tells me that when he was here, he was obsessed with cars when I'm speaking to him. So I don't know if he was always like working on his car or like what it was, but he keeps talking about loving his car here in the physical. And he tells me, Matt, he says, the one thing that I want my parents to know is this. Since the moment that I passed away, he says, I've been trying to reach them in different ways. And he actually tells me that he comes back to you in dreams. You get the dreams of him?
Occasionally, yes.
Know that that's his way of letting you know that he's there. And listen, occasionally, your loved ones only come through once in a while. And the reason why is they usually come through during certain moments that were special to you, certain moments that you shared a bond or a closeness with, and more importantly, during important dates. But what I have to tell you is this. He says to me that he wants the two of you to know that you both were the best parents that you could have ever been to him here in this world. He says, and Matt, do you know that they still have clothes of mine here in this world? Because he keeps saying, talk about the clothes, talk about the clothes. And I saw shirts of his that you kept, that you go through, that are of your sons. And he can't believe that you kept these after all of these years. And I also have to come to you as his dad. Because, first of all, your son wants to thank you for the man that you were within his life. Because he says, Matt, my dad taught me everything here in this world. He says, and I'm sad to say that sometimes my dad has questions over if heaven is real or the afterlife is real after what happened to me. But I do know that you've kept this faith, and from what your son is telling me, he tells me that you have private conversations with him, that you talk to him when you're in your car or when you're all alone, and he says to me, Matt, I hear those conversations. Please tell my dad. Please tell my dad. And he's bringing that through. But what I have to tell you is this. He says, you need to let my parents know, Matt, that at the end of my life, when I left this world, I left knowing one thing. I left knowing how much that they loved me and how much that they cared about me. He says, and that's what I went to heaven with. So he's telling me this because he needs you to know that even though this was not caused by him, if there was any way that your son could have avoided this accident, he would have. That's what he's showing to me. And what I have to tell you is this. He tells me that he wants to thank you for the way that you kept his memory alive even after he had died. Because he says to me, I had no idea how many people loved me until after my passing. And he keeps showing me the backs of people's cars. So did you have bumper stickers made?
Yeah.
He said to me, please thank them for the bumper stickers. Because he shows me, like, I keep seeing like people at traffic lights in different places where like everybody had this bumper sticker. And like people you didn't even know that were like, oh my God, that's my son, that's my son, that's my son. And like for 2 years after his passing, I saw all these people carrying these bumper stickers everywhere. Do you understand that?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So know it's his way of just bringing that through. And letting you know from the other side that every day that goes by, this is his way of just validating that he will never forget what you had done for him within life. And wait a minute, there's one other thing that I have to bring up. He won't leave me alone when I'm connected with him. I'm like, all right, do you have anything else? He's like, yes, and this, and this, and this. He also tells me that there's hair that you kept of his here in the physical world.
His hair?
His hair.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure. Uh-oh.
Wait a minute, what are you doing over there?
What's he doing? I really want to know.
He said to me this, he says, Matt, he says, I can't let you go until you say this one thing. He said, talk about this, talk about this. So know that when you brought this, your wife didn't even know that. He says to me this, he says, you said, if this is real, my son will talk about this. If not, this is bullshit.
I have brought that with me every single time I've gone to see someone. And you are the first one. The first one to pick up on it. And I can't thank you enough about that.
Listen, it wasn't me, sir. It was just your son. I just tell you what he's telling me. And he said this to me. He says, Matt, my dad's only going to believe this if you talk about the hair. So when you brought this with you and said, if this is my son, he'll know that this is in my pocket. If not, that's it. I won't believe it. No, it's his way of acknowledging that he's here and that he saw that you brought that with him.
Thank you very much.
All right? I'm going to leave you with that. I really hope that this helps you. Wow. I got to tell you, I get just as excited as you when your loved ones come through, because to me, it's always amazing the things that they can validate and the things that they can show us to let us know that they're there.